Step into the Oracle Parlor, a podcast where those interested in witchcraft, psychic abilities, ghosts, and all things paranormal come to sip and spill the magical tea. This parlor is a space to grow by maintaining our curiosity over fear when it comes to the spooky and the paranormal. I'm your host, Jenny, otherwise known as Phantasma Witch. I'm a previous visual storytelling artist from animation, now full-time psychic witch, who is getting her MA in psychology to become a licensed therapist. Every other episode, I will share my paranormal experiences, different witchy experiences on a variety of topics, while other episodes, I will be talking with witchy guests of all backgrounds, from writers to artists to well-known social media witches, so we can learn about their practices and how they grew into their personal power. So get cozy and grab your tea. It's time to get mystical. Hello, my magical mystical friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Oracle Parlor podcast. And this is our second month ahead reading that we're going to be doing. I'm so excited for you to join me. So, for anyone who has not listened to the last month ahead reading, definitely feel free to check it out and see if any of the guidance or the messages resonated with what happened for you last month. I can say personally, it did for me in a way that I was absolutely not expecting. But you know, these readings are for everyone, and so of course it's going to be something that affects me personally as well. I just didn't expect it to hit so hard as it did. I did get a couple of really lovely comments from some of you on social media of uh, talking about how last month's reading really hit and resonated with you already halfway through the month. And I really appreciate that feedback. So, we're going to be doing a similar thing to last time. So, for anyone who's not listened to a month ahead reading, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing with you the readings that I did for the energy of this upcoming month. And how I do that is first, I sit and psychic into the actual energy of the month. Then, once I've sat in that energy and I've taken notes on what I've received, I like to pull a couple of cards. I pull cards from a major arcana tarot deck, and then I pull a card from my oracle deck. And the card decks will be in the description of this episode for anyone who is interested. Now, last time I used the major arcana, I used numerology to decide what was the numerical card for the month ahead, which was May. And I had done it incorrectly, so I apologize. I had put that in the episode description. But weirdly enough, it didn't matter because the cards were extremely on point, at least from my experience of last month. They were really on point. So it was like a weird happy accident. And so for this month, I decided to try something a little different. And instead of doing numerology, I just shuffled the deck and I pulled one card from the top of the deck and one card from the bottom of the deck. So instead of telling you what the energy reading was first, even though I did that one first, I like to do the energy reading so the cards don't influence the reading. I like to pull the cards afterwards, and then it's really interesting to see how they play off of each other. But I'm going to do the reverse here. I'm going to tell you what cards I pulled, and then we will dive into the energy reading. So if you feel called to have something to take notes, just to see, if any of these things end up being in alignment for you, end up resonating with you as the month progresses, you can kind of keep track of it. And, hopefully the intention that I put into these readings is that it hopefully gives you, the listener, kind of like a roadmap ahead. I know a lot of us here love our astrology month ahead podcasts, and so this is supposed to kind of be something you can pair with that. So you kind of have this, again, this roadmap for the month ahead for June 2026. So let's get started. And where we're going to start is with the cards. So for the month ahead, I have pulled the Sun, and I have pulled Temperance. Those are the tarot cards that were pulled. And then the oracle card that I pulled was Authority, which is this one here. So, all of these things combined are really asking ourselves how when frustration comes up, when we feel under pressure, when we feel like we are constrained by the rules or the things that are said by others, by things that are outside of our control, the other, in a way that feels like it's activating to us in a way that maybe we can't we struggle with logically, and it inflames sort of this frustration or anger. How can we come back into balance, especially when it comes to feeling balanced in the sense of being able to take a breath in those moments where that frustration and that pent up kind of like put in a box feeling, when that comes in, how we can kind of take a breath and come back to our centers. And the answer to that is through the sun, through the joy, through that childlike play and wonder. Now, that isn't to say we're completely disregarding the um, emotions of anger and frustration in, and just frolicking in the fields. No, this is making sure that we are making space for those things. So, what does that mean to make space for those things? That means that when you find yourself in situations where it feels out of control, it feels frustrating, it feels like the other, whether that is a specific person or just the world in general or a situation, is causing anger and frustration, it's being able to allow yourselves to be angry and frustrated without spiraling, without getting stuck in rumination. And that means being able to take a breath and find balance. And finding balance sometimes means that you have to tend to yourself before you can go back into the world and make change or make that magic or that transformation and transmute that energy that feels pent up and frustrated into something more productive, more beneficial, more uplifting. But that can only be done if we take those moments to breathe. You can't run a marathon and hold your breath the entire way. You have to be able to breathe through it, and you have to be able to know how to breathe through it, how to breathe so you're not completely wearing yourself out too quickly and you end up getting lightheaded and dizzy and passing out before you're even halfway through it, right? It's about managing that aspect within yourself so you can show up. That is what this month is about when we look at these cards. Now, when we go to the energy reading that I have here, I look at the energy specifically from start of the month to end of the month, but it can be kind of like a mix of all these things. But the first thing that I got when I tapped into the energy of June 2026 was a ship at sea that was fighting a storm. I saw this visual in my mind where there were shipmates, like an old school ship, like pirates kind of ship, but it wasn't a pirate ship. It was just like a like an old school like cargo vessel or something with like, I don't know, fruit. That I don't know. It doesn't matter what was on the ship because what's important is that we see this ship. This is what I was saying. We see this ship and it's being tossed back and forth in this storm. And the shipmates are running around and they're trying to get control of the ship during this storm. So the more that I tapped into this energy and the more that I asked myself what this ship was representing for us during the month of June was a chaotic circumstance that is out of our control. One where You can only do what you know how to do in those situations. You have to be able to rely on your other shipmates to be able to do their part. This means that you cannot do it all. You have to be able to let go of some control and some feelings of needing to be able to do it all and be able to allow others to help you through that process because we're all experiencing it. So, when we think of shipmates, we think, okay, there's somebody who knows how to do the sails, there's somebody who knows how to do the anchor, there's somebody who knows how to do the ropes over here and this over there, and you get the idea. I'm not a person who knows about ships, so you'll have to forgive me. But the point is that everybody has a job to do. And no one person can do all those jobs in a chaotic situation like a storm like this that's just tossing everybody around. So what you can do is what you know how to do. Showing up in the way that you know best. I know how to tie this knot over here to secure this side of the boat. Fantastic. Trust that the other people will do their part. Trust that you have people on your side who can assist you. So this means throughout this month, as you're moving through the month, if you find yourself in a situation that feels completely out of your control, that feels like a circumstance that's just really like frustrating and a little overwhelming, try to remember who you can call on, who can assist you moving through it, who maybe they themselves are in a similar situation. Maybe they've been through that kind of situation and they know how to assist you through it and give you that guidance. But it's important that you remember that you don't have to do it alone. And those shipmates may be your friends, your found family, your actual family, your therapist, your community. Now, the next thing that I got in this reading, this one was at first, it kind of struck me as really odd. I mean, a lot of these did. Um, So when I receive psychic messages, it's through any psychic sense, but for some reason this month was extremely visual. And the next visual that I got was this beautiful looking piece of fruit. Like it was like a peach or something. And then I realized that the fruit was rotten at its core. Like the fruit itself looked delicious on the outside, but there was like a worm on the inside. So it wasn't actually good to eat, but it looked good enough to eat. So, as you move through the month, just be aware if something seems too good to be true, take a beat and reflect and sit with it. And don't make any decisions right away. Because as soon as I saw that peach, the first thing that was like, oh, I want to bite into that peach. It looks so juicy. And then immediately the peach turned and it was like, oh, it's kind of funky. Ooh, I'm glad I didn't immediately jump into that and then take a bite of it. But even to be more specific, the next thing I got was, the worm on the inside is not bad. So it's not like, you know, oh my God, how dare this worm eat my fruit? Oh my God, how dare this person say this thing or do this the kind of situation that this is, the worm is just doing what it does naturally. It's just doing its job. It's just trying to live. It's just trying to exist. It doesn't intend any kind of harm. Didn't know you also wanted the peach, right? It's just doing what it knows. But the situation might not be great. That is the core of this kind of psychic visual that I got of this energy is, you may be in a situation where it seemed it may have seemed like something was presented to you in a way that seemed really beneficial or really great. And then the more you get into it and look at it or read the fine print, you're like, oh, there's something here that doesn't actually serve me, and I don't like that. And, this thing that's here isn't intentionally trying to harm me, but it is not a situation that I want to be in. It essentially has this energy of being like let down, feeling let down, feeling kind of like, oh, hmm, this this seemed really tasty. This seemed really great. This seemed fun and fantastic, but now I'm like, oh, well, I don't I don't know if I want this. And that's okay. So if you find yourself in situations where something is being presented that seems too good to be true, it's not to say that it is too good to be true. It's just saying take a beat and make sure you go over the fine print. Make sure you sit with it first. Don't jump into any rash decision making immediately. If you can, give it, 48 hours, 72 hours, however much time you can give it to breathe a little bit. Give that space. You notice how we're going back to the tarot here and this idea of giving space for breath to come back to balance. Giving space before you make any kind of judgment call or decision. The next thing that came up, and this one was really funny, was a golden retriever playing in a huge park. But essentially, this energy is the need to be playful, the need to do simple, joyous things to get through the moment of it all. And that comes back to the sun card that we pulled at the beginning. I was really surprised, but also not surprised to see the sun card come up because of the energy reading I had done. This playful, joyous, tending to yourself, having fun, tap back into those energies this month as you can. Again, make space for that breath because the very next thing that I picked up on goes back to what we had at the start of the month, which is that ship in the storm. And I had seen, after seeing this playful kind of energy, I had seen that this ship enters the eye of the storm. And this, to me, felt very like mid-month energy. But again, this can be different for everyone. But essentially, if you've ever like seen people talk about like these giant tornadoes or hurricanes, they talk about the eye of the storm. And so there's all this chaos and wind whipping about, but at the center of that cyclone, it's it's completely still. It's eerily, creepily still. It is the eye of that cyclone, of that storm in the center where it seems really calm and it seems like the storm is over, but because it's just the eye and there's a circle, that means that that rough wind is going to come back in, that storm is going to come back in. It's not actually the end, it's just a brief momentary pause. Again, the pause, the breath, the brief moment. And so a lot of this month feels like the storm that's whipping around us, and we are doing what we can to find moments to breathe, to find moments to be able to find those like joyous parts, reflection, taking a moment to, again, read through things and really make sure that you have all the information. Because just like with this kind of fruit visual that I had, you don't want to make any rash decisions. Just because it seems calm doesn't mean like, okay, now immediately I'm gonna go and do XYZ things. No, it's okay. There's a moment here. How can I make the most of this moment without pushing myself too hard, without doing too much? How can I make sure that I'm recharging my batteries so I can weather the rest of the storm, so that I can navigate the rest of the storm with the energy that I need instead of just trying to go, go, go and push, push, push. So the last thing that came in was at the end of the month. I got this overwhelming feeling of frustration, of anger, of wanting to kind of pop off, feeling really fed up. So this was kind of like the result of the storm, is how it felt like to me. And again, this comes back to the cards that we pulled. The last card that we pulled, Authority, this Mars Virgo energy. It feels very much like this pent-up frustration. So, how can we navigate the things that feel out of control, that feel frustrating, that feel anger-inducing, that feel like we're stuck in a moment? How can we find moments to breathe? How can we find moments to balance? How can we make sure that we are relying on those around us to be able to assist and help out and not feel so alone while we do this? What is it that we can do to connect with others who may be going through the same thing? These are the really important things for the month of June. You know, it's about being able to weather that storm, whatever that storm may be. And this isn't to say that this month is going to be all negative and chaos and this and that. No, it's saying if things come up, how can we navigate it? If things in your life do feel a bit sporadic, again, this isn't to say that all of it will be bad, just like with the peach and the worm. There may be a part of the peach you can cut off and still eat, but honestly, again, the worm's just trying to do their best. And sometimes that's just the situation. And it's like, well, it's not a great situation. It kind of stinks, but it's about being able to move through it. So I'll be very curious to see how this shows up for everyone. So please, take this as a reminder that you don't have to weather the storm alone. There are people and community and, you know, um, resources that you can reach out to for assistance, whatever it may be that you may need help with. It could be something as small as, maybe you're in the process of moving and something happens that you weren't expecting and things get shifted around and all of a sudden you need more help than you thought you needed. Could be anything. But the point is, if something comes up that is unexpected and is not within your control, how are you going to navigate it? Are you going to try to push through the storm? Are you going to try to control it? Or are you going to release that control and you're going to find assistance and find the breath and the playfulness that you need in order to recharge your batteries and keep going? All right, everybody. Let me know in the comments how this resonates with you. Let me know how the previous month ahead resonated with you. We will be back next month for yet another month ahead reading. Look forward to the upcoming podcast episode where I am going to be talking about the usual stories. And if you haven't listened to previous episodes, make sure you check it out. And please, please, please consider leaving a rating and reviewing the podcast. It really helps the show find new people, and feel free to share the show with people you think would appreciate and enjoy it. I appreciate and enjoy all of you. Thank you again so much. I will see you next time in the parlor. Thank you so much for joining me in the parlor for this episode. If you want more psychic magical tips, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Phantasma Witch. Phantasmawitch. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, where I have a Discord community. I do Q&As, live classes, workshops, and more. To book a reading or consultation directly with me, you can go to my website, www.phantasmawitch.com. All of these links can be found in the episode description. And please, if you enjoyed this show, make sure you go leave a rating, leave a review, share it with others. It really helps the show to reach new listeners if you take a moment to do that, and it is sincerely appreciated. Shout out to the artist Cat Lines, who helped me to redesign the podcast logo to the beautiful magical teacup you see today. See you, mystical friends, in the parlor next time.